What is up, Pit Podcast, the Pit Press Podcast listeners? My name is Ryan Tamori. We're coming to you live from the Turquoise Desert Taproom in Rio Rancho tonight for the game. Make sure I got this right. Perfect. Technical difficulties. What does Jeff Goldblum say in Jurassic Park when he looks at John Hammond and he goes, "It's all right. Even Pirates of the Caribbean broke down on the first day, except when that breaks down, you don't get eaten." You catch that joke, right? All right. Well, we were supposed to come to you 40 minutes ago. We apologize. We had technical difficulties. It's my bad. Before I introduce myself and my guests, which I can't remember if I did, join us for a watch party tonight. New Mexico State, UNM. UNM's at Cruces at the Pan American Center. Tip-off is in about roughly 22 minutes. Again, we're at 4405 Yeager Drive, Northeast in Rio Rancho. Six wings for $5. New Mexico Lager and New Mexico Standard for $4. They also have other deals going on for for tonight's in-state rivalry game. I'm joined by Eric Malton. Eric, how are you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, a little technical difficulty here, just trying to connect the damn camera on, but we got it working, and here we're here at Turquoise Desert Taproom. Our friend Armando was kind enough to let us kind of come crash their party. There's a lot of New Mexico State fans here already in town for the game tomorrow. Packed house, and looking forward to this game. I kind of don't really know what to expect other than the Lobo beatdown. Again, I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, to our friend Rick Thompson, who always joins us, I hope you can hear this live stream.
Well, it was a savage beating.
The last time the Lobos and the Aggies got together, it was indeed a beatdown. And Rick said that for that game. It was, 160 here? 162, 106 to 62.
Yeah.
So it was a 44-point loss for the Aggies. I'll be honest. I don't know much other than Jason Hooten, who came from Sam Houston State. Heading into that game on December 2nd, I didn't know anybody on this roster. So it was quite interesting. They looked disinterested after about the first 10 minutes. But as far as the line on tonight's game, I'll go there betting first. UNM minus 14.5. The over-under is 151.5. UNM money line, if you have the money, last I saw in Caesars Sportsbook, was minus 1,386. So 1,386. So you'd have to lay down over $1,000 to win 100. I don't know anybody who's going to be doing that tonight. We are within proximity of Santa Ana Star Casino. So anyway, just a recap of the last game in Albuquerque. The first meeting again since such tragedy where Mike Peake was shot, an NMSU player, a UNM student was killed last November. Put this rivalry game on hold. We weren't sure if we were going to get a football game. We did. NMSU has the bragging rights. But on December 2nd in the pit, Jalen House with 28 points. He was 5 of 6 from 3. True freshman, true Washington, 21 points. You're big on the point. As we always talk on our podcast, you're always high on the guards. Just your thoughts about those guards played in the last game in the pit.
Yeah, well, I think the guard play carried UNM in this last game. I don't think New Mexico State really had the depth or the personnel to match up with one-on-one, and it turned into a track meet, and that the score reflected that. So I think that's going to be the case for it again. We're not going to have Jalen House will be there, but we won't have Mashburn again. I know he's expected back after Christmas, according to Richard Patino. They're trying to get him healthy just to kind of get his feet wet and back in the game during the game against Eastern New Mexico before we hit conference play, which is a big-time matchup coming up with Colorado State. So we need everyone healthy and full guns blazing for then. But, yeah, I don't know if New Mexico State has the guns to keep up with UNM.
Usually I'm one who would like, and what New Mexico State has done football-wise with Jerry Kill, I'm one to always think like it's good for the rivalry when both schools are good. This is going to be a rebuilding process for Jason Hooten. Here's Patino, Coach Patino, from his press conference that was on Thursday. Obviously, we're actually live, so it's not good continuity I don't have to worry about continuity for a podcast. Here is Richard Patino on adversity and the injuries they suffered.
We've had adversity in the sense of injuries, but we haven't been on a 2-3 game losing streak. You know, I mean, we've won 8 in a row. So everything's good right now. But we'll hopefully later than sooner, but it's how you respond from a loss or 2 or 3 or an injury or so. That's when it gets really, really challenging. And that's the hard part about transfers all the time. And that's why we're trying to build that young core to go along with the transfers so that we do now the Mashes and the Houses and the Sebastians who have been here through a buzzer beater twice at home or losing a tough one on the road. They can talk about that and understand that, but you never know until you really truly go through that adversity.
I thought that was an interesting take, as opposed to losing 2 or 3 games with adversity, facing the injuries that UNM has had. I've been very vocal on our podcast. They really haven't played anybody, but that doesn't matter from the Bill Parcells school of you are what your record is. I think that Patino has done a good job weathering the storm. I like Coach Richard Patino. I've been a little bit critical of his coaching, not that I'm an X's and O's guy when it comes to basketball, specifically college basketball. But I thought that was a very interesting comment where they're weathering the injury adversity. UC Irvine comes into the pit next week. That is a very, very talented, another big, might as well just play the Big West in the West Coast Conference all year. I mean, it's good basketball. But I don't know. I thought that was a very fascinating comment, and he's accurate when it comes to that. Eric, I see that you have Ken Palm, and I'm kind of deciphering away from where I was going to go with that. I took note of that. As of today, about, 3 o'clock, UNM was ranked number 30 in Ken Palm. NMSU is 271. I would think Lobo fans see that top 30, you have to be happy.
Yeah, extremely happy. I don't know if that was necessarily expected at the beginning of the year that they would be this good this fast, and I don't think they've necessarily peaked yet either. I think they're still finding some areas to grow in, especially with kind of getting these guys adapted to the minutes. And now once Mashburn comes back, having to figure out that piece, I think this team can definitely get a whole lot better. And then you speak on just the overall depth and finding these guys minutes and being able to find the right guys to blend together. And then being able to spell them minutes and just kind of keeping your foot on the gas for all 40 minutes. And it's a good problem for Patino to have. And I was definitely hoping for a little bit more adversity for the Lobos to kind of face in the non-con schedule. They didn't necessarily get that. But this one's a true road game, and it's a true road game, and it's a rivalry game. So they'll probably face a little bit of adversity. Then I'm not sure how many fans are going to turn out at Pan American, since most of Las Cruces is probably already here in Albuquerque for the New Mexico Bowl tomorrow. But those 2 road games, they're not at home. It's not a neutral site. It's you're in their house. So it's definitely a kind of like a get right game and kind of get into some unfamiliar territory. And teams grow from that, and they learn things that playing on the road that they don't necessarily get when they're playing at home.
I mean, this is still a hostile environment for the Lobos. I think that's a good thing. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know what the crowd is going to be like at the Pan American Center. It'll be interesting. I think one of the things that we stressed on our podcast was post New Mexico State on December 2nd here in Albuquerque was the fouls.
Oh,
New Mexico State had 29 fouls, and I'll get to Patino on the fouls here. I don't know. It was like what, I don't even know. I think Patino referred to it as a clog. It's not like watching paint dry, but that first half, and we mentioned it was an hour and 15 minutes. It was utterly painful to watch. So here's Patino on the fouls.
We always want to get to the foul line. That's always a focal point of what we're trying to do offensively is we're trying to get to the rim. We're trying to get to the paint. We're trying to put pressure on your defense. So we'll continue to try to do that. Obviously the first game was really, really clunky with all the fouls that were called. And it's something where we're going to try to do that versus every opponent.
He called, I thought he used clog. He said clunky. It felt that way. It was a painful game to watch. Especially if you're a New Mexico State fan, obviously a 44-point win, you're going to take that. The Lobos are looking for a sweep of the rivalry and is looking for a 10-win conference season for the first time in consecutive years since 2010 to 2013. Obviously, the Steve Alford years, the Craig Neal year. I don't know. You as a Lobo fan, I don't know how as a diehard Lobo fan, not me, the cynical glass half empty kind of guy, how important, regardless of how good New Mexico State is this year, and maybe these guys don't really care about the rivalry, how important to just generic Lobo fan do you think this game is?
Well, I definitely think it's one of those games that everyone circles on their calendar after only being able to, not play any games last year, but just getting it back kind of in the groove of us going down to Las Cruces and State coming up here to play. I think it's good for the athletic programs. I think it's good for just generating overall revenue and for both schools, right? Concessions and just getting people there and driving that rivalry. We didn't get that last year. So I think now that it's back on the calendars, everyone's kind of back to normal and excited again. And where Lobo basketball is headed, I think it's just they're a little bit ahead of New Mexico State this time of year because they're not really as good as they had been in the past. But I think it's a good thing.
I mean, predominantly whack. I'm Ryan Tamori. This is Eric Malton of the Pit Press Podcast. Just a refresh, we're here at the Turquoise Desert Taproom near the Santa Ana Star Center. We're in Rio Rancho tonight. Swing on by to watch the game. There are Lobo fans trickling in. It's a much bigger crowd than I thought. I don't know if you would find an Aggie fan in here. There's probably a lot of Aggie fans in Albuquerque getting ready for the New Mexico Bowl. But again, we're at Turquoise Desert Taproom. If you need that specific address, 4405 Yeager Drive Northeast in Rio Rancho. 6 wings for $5. New Mexico Lager, New Mexico Standard for $4 during the broadcast of the game. Again, New Mexico State and UNM set to tip off in roughly maybe, 12, 15 minutes at the Pan Am Center. UNM going for the sweep of the regular season, head-to-head against New Mexico State. Obviously coming back from that.
Well, it was a savage beating.
106-62 on December 2nd. Again, we were talking about how we didn't really know much of what this New Mexico State and new head coach Jason Newton had to offer. They've got 2 guards. Femi, I hope I pronounce this right.
It is Femi, yep.
Femi Oduke,
Kelly.
12.3 points a game. Christian Cook, 10. They do have a big Robert Carpenter, 10.5 points a game. NMSU, if we do have any NMSU fans listening, they had a hard time with Northern New Mexico College. They went down to Cruces in the Pan Am Center, 76-71. The Aggies did escape. Northern New Mexico was up at 1 at halftime. Yeah, again, I try not to play. Out of all of us, I'm probably the most, as I mentioned, cynical, question everything. I don't really see this game being all that close tonight. Again, 14.5 point spread to UNM. The over-under is 151.5. If you're a gambling man, just about everything has gone over with UNM basketball. Eric, just your thoughts on tonight's game in New Mexico State.
Yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd probably take. I don't know if I would take the over, but I'd definitely take UNM to cover that 14.5 or 15.5 that you just mentioned. I just think UNM's guard play is just way too good, and the depth is just way too good. They have a huge advantage there. New Mexico State really struggled with the on-ball pressure, which Patino pretty much expressed, which they like to do now that they have the depth. They have the luxury of being able to do that for a lot of minutes during the game. So with the way that House has been playing, with the way that Det has been playing, and then some of these role players coming in like Mushila being able to come in off the bench, some other guys spotting Baker. I clearly see that this is kind of like a lopsided game and probably might turn into another track meet.
Well, for those that listen, what is it? Lobo Cerveza, Lobo Gabe on Twitter. You probably want that track meet tonight. You know me, I still would like a competitive game, but at least for the time being, if you truly hate those boys down south, you would want another.
Well, it was a savage beating.
Tonight's probable starters are Jamal Baker Jr., Donovan Dent, Jalen House, JT Toppin, Nelly Jr., Joseph. I feel like in years past, and I'm struggling to find what we can talk about after a 44-point victory just about, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, with this rivalry. It just, I think it's happy that you're back on. It just feels kind of a little bit of lackadaisical with what has gone on down at New Mexico State, what has transpired over the last calendar year, well over calendar year. I was, I'm a big college basketball fan, but I'm also a big college football fan. I was probably looking forward to the football game because I think, and maybe if, tell me I'm wrong, I felt like the football game would be more competitive than what the basketball game was going to be, but I didn't see a 44-point beatdown.
No, I definitely did not see that. Thought they'd come out a little bit stronger, have a little bit more a competitive edge. But look, the thing is, New Mexico State's under a complete overhaul, rebuild, brand new coach, all brand new players. These guys really still haven't hit any type of stride. They're still learning how to play together, right? And now that they've hit or coming up on conference season, I still think that they have a few things to figure out. But that's going to be figured out over time and with overall playing experience and being able to pick up on each other's kind of tendencies and social cues on the court. They just haven't had the time together. And that's kind of what this season is about. It's about getting his culture kind of built up and getting these guys to kind of build up a foundation around that. It's a time thing. And it was kind of expected with New Mexico State, and it was needed, right? They needed to do that, and there's no way around it.
I'm not so sure what the expectations were out of like El Paso media, what expectations were for this basketball team, especially with what had transpired with what Jerry Kill has done. I'm comparing apples to oranges. I know I am. I feel it would probably be easier to turn around a team of 12, 13, or 14 or 15 guys as opposed to an entire football program. That's just my opinion. I got to give a shout out. We're running out of time. Again, we were trying to do this much sooner. We're hoping to add this to an addition to how we do previews for men's basketball games. We had technical difficulties. I'm going to have to find that soundbite as Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum tells John Hammond, and I can't think of that actor's name, in Jurassic Park. I know I'm repeating myself, but Pirates of the Caribbean broke down on Disneyland's first day, except at Jurassic Park. If something breaks down, the attractions don't eat the guests. I know that's a terrible, terrible joke. Our friend Jared Chester, I'm not going to say friend of the show, I'll say amigo of the show. He's come on with us. I've gotten to know Jared. We've both gotten to know Jared being in the media, and he's friends with our friend Jacob Neff, who comes on this show. He grew up playing baseball with him. And if you haven't seen it, Patino acknowledged his mustache. Here's Coach Richard Patino and Jared Chester of KRQE, who I jokingly call Van Tate's Robin to his Batman. Here it is the other day.
I think your mustache is better than anything my team is doing. So I didn't expect that coming out of the gates this early in the day. So it looks terrific. But I think after 10 games, I don't even know what your question was. What was the question?
I love how he said that because he said, what was a question that took me back to Chappelle's show.
Yeah, it was a tragedy.
Yeah, it was a tragedy. What was the question? There it is. We are going to have us join very quickly. It's a work in progress. Armando, dude, I don't even know your last name.
Martinez.
Armando Martinez.
Yeah.
Are you owner, president? What is your title?
I'm the owner of Turquoise Desert and then Dulce River.
Tell us a little bit about how you came to open this place.
It was down the street from us, and my wife and I during the pandemic had bought our bakery in Santa Fe. But we were kind of getting tired of the commute, kind of wanted to do something out here. So we knew that this guy was trying to sell it because he was telling us about it. And we were like, hey, we could put a bakery right next door, then the sports bar on the other side. So we decided to go that route, and it kind of just all kind of came together in that way.
And no, happy to hear that. And I appreciate your tabletops with all the divisions and conferences of football, hockey, basketball, of all the major sports. And then you have a Mountain West dedicated table with all the schools and the teams there. That's very cool. And as a big hockey fan, I appreciate that. I saw that tabletop. We appreciate you having us out here. And I'm running out of time and questions, but I see the Lobo hat on. So you're a big UNM fan.
Yeah. We used to have season tickets for basketball before we had kids. Once we had kids, it was a little more challenging.
Isn't that
yeah.
That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, we both know.
We still did football. We did football until the pandemic happened, just because now with 3 businesses, it's still a little hard. 3 new businesses. So we're still kind of working the kinks out and getting them going and whatnot. But hopefully next year we'll get back out there and do season tickets for football at least.
Are you excited about the hire with Bronco Mendenhall?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, I was a big Danny fan, but this is going to be cool. I mean, he has a track record of rebuilding programs, so I'm excited for it.
We're really happy to have you here. I've been promoting the specials you're going to have for the watch party here for tonight's UNM NMSU game. Can you just tell us a little bit more in depth about the specials tonight here?
Yeah, so we're doing 6 wings for $5. We normally do that on our football days, Monday and Thursday. But we decided to do it today for the watch party, and then we decided to do New Mexico Standard and New Mexico Lager beers since New Mexico it was UNM versus
NMSU.
New Mexico State. We decided to do that. Those are $4 drafts, and then I did some work on Google, and Google says that the New Mexico cocktail is the Chimayo cocktail, which is tequila, apple cider, and some blackberries. So we put that together for $7 for this, and then my wife did. My grandma's recipe for pastelitos for dessert. So just trying to keep the specials kind of more or less all New Mexican. The wings was just something easy to put out there, but the other stuff kind of honed in on the New Mexico roots.
Well, we appreciate you having us out here. Armando Martinez, owner, Turquoise Desert Taproom. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate
it.
And enjoy the game tonight. I'll get Eric on here one last second. You good? Perfect. All right. We appreciate Armando. I didn't even get his last name. Again, great journalism. No. I was making fun of myself, as I always do. Again, we're out here at Turquoise Desert Taproom, NMSU, UNM, about to tip off here. You can catch that game on CBS Sports Network or on the Lobo Radio Network. Rob Portnoy and Hunter Green on the call. God, I almost said George Carter. I don't know why. I guess I was thinking Jeff Semita's at the New Mexico Bowl. Again, we're looking to do this more prior to games, especially away games, and just building what we're doing. Again, I've always jokingly said, if you hate us, let us know. If you think we suck, let us know. If there's something that you like that we do, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, this is my background. This is the guy, the brains behind the Pit Press is Eric. So we really appreciate you. Again, you can find us on Twitter at the Pit Press NM, on Instagram at the Pit Press NM. Say that 3 times fast. Nick Nunez could not join us tonight. Rick Thompson could not join us tonight. Jacob Neff could not join us tonight. I get it. We're steaming towards the holidays. We're steamrolling towards the holidays, and we kind of thought about this week. So we're happy to be here. I'm really appreciative of Armando's hospitality. Before we sign off, before this game tips off, Eric, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, just one announcement. We've been working with the American Cancer Society.
Oh, yeah.
As you can see, we have a graphic on the screen here. Coaches versus Cancer, that big time initiative that hits college sports, men's and women. There's a project that they do every year. It's usually the 2nd or 3rd week of January. And we're really trying to help kind of activate that here in New Mexico. So there'll be more information coming in about that. We'll probably be doing some fundraisers, maybe some raffles and giveaways to kind of drive some donorship that we can kind of get involved with the American Cancer Society and maybe get UNM Cancer Center involved since it is local and we are a UNM-centric podcast. So more information to come on that, but I'm happy to support an initiative like that as many of you are too. So I think it's time for us to sign out. And
well, we appreciate you listening. Yeah, we've seen CBS cut to the feed of the game. Again, my name's Ryan Tamori. This is Eric Malton of the Pit Press Podcast. Come out to Turquoise Desert Taproom. It's near Santa Ana Star Center. If you need a place to watch the game, I know it's just north of Albuquerque. This is a great place. I'd never been here until today. It's awesome. Again, we thank everybody for listening, and we appreciate everybody's support, whether it be, positive or negative. I'm appreciative of it. Eric, thanks. Everybody enjoy the game tonight, and we'll have a post-game recap. We'll also be at the New Mexico Bowl. Everybody enjoy the game and have a safe night.